The two situations you did bits for stem from situations where you were upset about something else already, right? When like the Street Fighter situation, you were already mad about the guy coming in and interrupting your game.
Mm.
So then like it stemmed it went over to the other Flying Dragon member, right? And then the situation you arguing with your ex-fiance, the guy interrupts, but you were already upset in a
Ah.
situation already. Is that something that you ever like thought about that, you reflected on that you needed to control those emotions more when you were presented in those situations?
Yo, you know what? Honestly, I never even thought about it like that. Uh, I never even put the two and two together. Like, oh shit, maybe you know, uh, somebody else got me mad, and then I got mad. I didn't think about that. I really have to think about that. But I'm glad you pointed it out to me. Um, I don't know. I guess growing up, I always feel like if you want things your way and it doesn't go your way, there's only one way to get your way, and that's the violence. You know?
Right. Cause when they like take their anger and their terror out on the world, right? Like that, those strong emotions, they come from somewhere else. From whatever trauma that you deal with, whatever has happened in your life, it comes out in different ways. It manifests itself in different ways. Like, what do you think caused all that anger in your life to reach to the point that it did?
Man, that's a good question. I don't really know. I never even thought about that. I
You
always
took
thought that's just
psychology
the way I
101, man. What
am.
did you think?
Yeah, they say that the greatest surgeons can cure anybody but themselves.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah, I give
Because
good
there
advice
was a
too, but
dude.
I don't take it.
Yeah, there was a dude that I was locked up with. His name is Jerry the Jew. Right? They even made a movie about him. I think Tony Danza played him in the movie. It was a TV movie by ABC or something like that. I don't remember. A long, long time ago. Anyway, I was locked up with the dude, and he helped so many people find ways to appeal their case and go home, but he could never get himself home. He got everybody else home, but he couldn't get himself home. Jerry the Jew. I said that's his nickname, and that's not what people called him, but that's what his name was.
Because we spoke about like the influence of the dialos and the movies and everything like that, right? But
Mhm.
you have to have some internal predisposition to allow that to come in, right? To really influence you to that point. So I'm wondering, like, what was it that happened for you that made you more susceptible to allowing that to come and be a part of your life?
Um, I guess it could fall back to my parents was working all the time. So it wasn't their fault, they had to work. And I guess without a parental figure in your life, whether it be male or female, because I know a lot of guys that was just raised by their moms and they grew up to be wonderful people. So I guess it's just parental supervision and love. If it's not there, then it's easier to get sidetracked and it's easier to get led astray. Or you might not even be led astray. It could be just like me. I was just seeking it out in all the wrong places.
Violence has been like one of your form of communications, your main form of communications all of your life, right? The violence and the chaos that you've been surrounded by has been something that you've heavily relied on throughout your life because it's mainly what you know. It's been normalized so much to the point that like even you started to realize later on in life that just because this has been normalized in my life, it doesn't mean that it's normal in society in general. One of the things you were talking about with the guy that you punched was like, man, people get punched every single day in prison, and it's like it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
But then like you start to realize that yes, certain things are normalized in certain environments like prison, but doesn't mean that it's accepted, as a whole in society, and this is like the
Yeah.
norm, right?
Yeah. That's a fact.
When you look at, what you've been through in your life, right? And you compare it to the ages of your children, like, doesn't that trip you out? Like, man, when I was their age at this, I was already doing this. I was already going through this. Like, You can't even
Yeah,
imagine, right, that they would be
it
going through
does. It
something
does.
like that.
I didn't realize I was that young. When I was their age, I thought I was grown. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at them and I look, I'm like, wow, these are babies. I just want to hold him. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a little baby. But then again, when I think back when I was his age, I was already like walking around gang banging. Like I already been shot already. So it's just like it's a whole different era.
Right. Now, when you initially first had your two kids, it was like it stimulated some change in you, but it wasn't enough for you to completely change your way of reacting, right? What ultimately led to you changing, like, this is how I'm going to respond moving forward?
Wow. You know what? I didn't feel like I needed to change. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. So the thought process of having to change never even crossed my mind because I thought it was normal. Like you said, I normalized it. So I never even said, you know what, I got to change my ways. Nah, change. I never crossed my mind. It didn't cross my mind until I got arrested, and I'm sitting in Central Book. No, I'm sitting in the YME pen thinking like, damn, what the fuck? And then I'm thinking about all the stuff I'm missing out on and gonna miss out on. And I was like, that's that might have been the trigger that, yo, something I'm doing isn't right. Like this ain't normal.
One thing I really think about is how much you were able to change and where exactly the change happened. Because when you compare in the beginning, although you were just a kid when you killed the Flying Dragons member and everything, you were boastful about it. You didn't feel remorse about it. But when the situation happened with the gentleman that hit his head, right? And he required surgery, it's like you realized that, man, that this is changing everything forever for this person that is going to become a father like me. As
Mm.
maybe it's because he wasn't in the life that you had more empathy for him, but somewhere along the line you grew to have more compassion and empathy for human life. Do you think that that came from fatherhood, that came from life experience? Like, what did that come from?
Um, Probably from fatherhood, maybe from fatherhood, but also from like just looking at, damn, life, anybody's life can be altered in one split second. Like you could train your whole life for this marathon, and before you come out the house you stub your fucking toe, you're not running that marathon. So it's just like, how do we watch out for those little one instances, you know what I'm saying, those moments that can be life altering. And when I came to a realization selfishly, because I was still thinking about, damn, all the stuff I would miss. It wasn't until that I was like in my cell just thinking about, damn, why my life went turned out the way it did. And that's when I started thinking, wait, man, I don't really have it that bad. They got other motherfuckers that have it way worse than me. And then I started thinking about, the victim and all the stuff that he might or possibly miss. And that helped me grow. That helped me gain a lot more empathy as well.
Because earlier when we had the conversation, you were saying that the victim didn't make a mistake. You said that they didn't do anything wrong, but I know that the viewers are going to look at this and be like, "Well, he shouldn't have did what he did." That kind of started the situation. But for you, I understand that you're in a place now where you have to take accountability 100%
Yeah,
for what you did. Like, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond to it, right? So it's like you
yeah,
can't control what he did, but you can control what you did.
yes, yes, yes. And this is a free country. You should be, you're entitled to say what you want to say. You're entitled to believe what you want to believe, and you're entitled to express how you want to express yourself. So I have no right to determine, oh, what you saying I don't like. I'm gonna punch you in your fucking face. I mean, I used to feel like that. I used to feel like judge, jury, and executioner. But you know what? Who the fuck am I to do that? Now I come into that realization. Like, I'm not special from nobody else. We all human. So Nah, I'm totally against that now. Unfortunately, it took so many tragedies for me to realize this, but you know, hopefully it's not too late to do something about it. You know?
Well, man, you still young, you know what I mean? Like you still look a lot
Ha.
younger than you really are. So you
Oh,
got
thank
some
you, thank you,
years, you
thank
know, you got some years.
you. Yeah, yeah. Like people always ask me, "Yo, you sure you that age?" I remember I did another podcast and somebody in the comments said, "Yo, this fucking guy is AI or he's lying. There's no way he's 49." Like, and you know what? I took that as a compliment. I kind of felt myself really hard that day. I was walking around. My chest was popped up even more when I was walking around that day. I was like, "Yeah, man,
It's like
29
you had the bulletproof
AI
vest on again, huh?
all over again." I had that shit on all over again. Yeah.